Couple of other things here. The quotations. Municipal bonds are going to trade in the over-the-counter market. They don't trade on exchanges, they trade in the over-the-counter market. And a thing to remember about the municipal bond market overall is that it's much more thinly traded. There's so many different issues. And if you think about school districts and small municipalities that are abundant throughout our country, just imagine the number of different types of municipal issues. And not all of them have a very strong market. So the conventions for quoting and the terminology that is used in quoting these bonds can be very different because of that market. So on my screen, you can see this term bonafide or firm quotes. That term, when used within municipal language, simply means that that quote is going to be a firm quote. If it's published, it means that that broker-dealer is going to stand behind it and be willing to do business at that quote. Now, there's rules around bona fide quotes. MSRB says if a firm is going to make a bona fide quote, it has to be reflective of current market conditions. They can't just pull a quote from nowhere and kind of make it up. They have to make that quote relevant to the current market and what's fair and reasonable. They also have these best execution responsibilities, fair and reasonable. So think of those two terms, fair, reasonable, as being very reflective of the MSRB's requirements. Also, a couple of other things with regard to quotes could be important. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Workable indication. A workable indication means what we might be willing to do it at. Here again, we have a thinly traded market. You as a potential customer are coming to me, a market maker, and say, hey, I think we want this bond. What can you offer me? Or at what price could I sell it? And maybe we don't know for sure, but we think we may be able to do it at a certain price. That is a workable indication, and it is not firm. It's a maybe, right? So it's not a firm quote, and it could change based on market conditions. And if you just want me to give you an estimate, that would be a subject or nominal quote. The other kind of quote that's unique in the municipal industry is an out firm with recall quote. So let's just talk about that one for a minute. An out firm with recall. Here again, we have this very different type of market where sometimes what you want isn't readily available. So let's say you're a customer and you're coming to my firm and you have determined that you want a certain type of bond. And so I'm now going to say, okay, I'll go out and look for it. And I find that bond. And so I call you, the customer, and I say, I got the bond at this price, and I will give you an out firm with recall quote. This quote is a firm quote, but here's the difference. If another customer comes to me in the meantime, I can sell it to that customer, but only after giving you the first opportunity to buy it. So usually what you'll see with one of these quotes is it is firm for an hour to the original customer. In other words, they've got an hour to make up their mind. If they don't make up their mind within that hour, it can be sold to someone else or the price could change. Now, meanwhile, if during that hour, another customer comes into the picture, what happens is the firm is going to call you and say, by the way, you're going to have to make up your mind because we have another customer. So you have a 5-minute recall. A 5-minute recall means you have a period of time, 5 minutes in this case, to make up your mind. That's within that hour period during which the quote is firm. So just realize that that special type of process called the out firm quote is something used in the municipal market only, and it is still considered a firm quote. The quote is still considered firm.